What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers have been chasing for that third star to pair with LeBron James and Anthony Davis for years now, right? I mean, even dating back to like Kawhi Leonard, right? They thought that they were going to get Kawhi Leonard. They waited around for Kawhi Leonard, and then ultimately he ended up going to the Los Angeles Clippers. They end up going and eventually trading for Russell Westbrook. There was talks about DeMar DeRozan, and then obviously even the Kyrie Irving stuff, right? They chased Kyrie Irving all the way up until Dallas. He ends up getting traded to Dallas, and then it was still like, oh, maybe he'll come this offseason. There's all that talk, and ultimately he re-signs with Dallas. But many people still have the door open for Kyrie, right? If it doesn't work out in Dallas, like where's Dallas going to trade Kyrie, right? The only option is probably the Lakers. And it is very possible the Lakers could still land their third star. The big concern is like if you go get a third star, you don't want to lose and trade all of your depth to go get that third star. But depending on the circumstance and depending on the situation, it is still very possible to get that third star without trading depth, especially with the Lakers' current roster and all the depth that they have, right? Like you could trade, like say Gabe Vincent and D'Lo and, throw in piece or whatever and go trade for Kyrie Irving. Or go and get a DeMar DeRozan if he becomes available. It depends on the star that becomes available later on down the road because the demand and then the asking price probably wouldn't be high, right? Like DeMar DeRozan, if he becomes available, I actually think he is very obtainable for the Lakers because there's not going to be a huge bidding war to try to go get DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is a very good player. He's solid. I would love DeMar DeRozan on the Lakers, but he's not a guy that's going to be hugely in demand because of his age, his lack of defense, and just questions of like, is he the guy that is the missing piece, right? Like how many teams would be looking at DeMar DeRozan and going, yeah, that's the missing piece and we're off to the races. I do think that there'd be some other teams, but again, I don't think the asking price and the demand for him would be very high, especially as a free agent, right? He would be in his last year of his contract. Kyrie Irving, right? If Kyrie doesn't work in Dallas and they end up looking to move Kyrie Irving, then it's very likely that the Lakers are going to be the only option. And then it's basically whatever the Lakers are willing to give up at that point, or it's like just keep him, right? So it depends on the circumstances. But even then, beyond those guys, you constantly hear all of the talks, Trae Young, Giannis, right? Like, who's going to be that next star? Who's going to be the star that comes? Well, there are reports that have came out that the Lakers believe that they already have that third star, and that is Austin Reaves. Now, when you're talking about Austin Reaves, I don't think he's a star yet, right? From like a media standpoint and stuff like that, absolutely he is. But I think people throw star, superstar around very lightly, right? Like to me, a superstar is like top 5 guy in the league, global brand, like everybody knows who he is. You know, the KDs, the LeBrons, the Giannis's, the Lucas, like those are guys that transcend basketball in a lot of ways. To me, that's a superstar. Then you have, all-stars, which is a step above star, and then stars. Can Austin Reaves be a star? Absolutely. Could he be a star this year? Absolutely. If he's a 25-5 guy or an 18-5 guy, which he was at the playoffs for the Lakers. He was like 17-5 or 17-4, right? So, and he's going to have a bigger role. The Lakers want to have him on the ball more. All of these things, he very well could be the Lakers' third star. Now, he's not the name and the draw and the Kyrie Irving type thing, right? Like, if you get Kyrie Irving is just so impactful, right? Austin Reaves can have that level of impact just because of his fit and the type of skill set that he has, his efficiency, all of those things. But he's not the big name, right? Like, he's not going to be like this massive big three. But even then, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't have the best big three. Like, great example, 2021 season, right after the bubble year. The best 3-man unit in the league was Dennis Schroeder, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And then AD and LeBron got hurt. Dennis Schroeder ended up getting COVID, and he was never the same. But for that season, they were a plus 15.5. Dennis Schroeder isn't a star. Dennis Schroeder isn't a superstar. Dennis Schroeder isn't even an all-star, right? He's a solid point guard, but it was his fit. It was his impact. It was the way he was able, the things that he was good at really worked with that roster, right? Austin Reaves, to me, is an upgraded version, not play style or anything like that, but I'm talking about like the 3-man unit, right? Is an upgrade to Dennis Schroeder. So the thought process of Austin Reaves, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis potentially being the best 3-man unit in the league is very possible, very likely. I mean, the look at like the Denver Nuggets, right? You had Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon isn't a star. He's not a superstar. He's not an all-star, but he fit and he provided everything that team needed, and they were the best 3-man unit in the league. So it's the same type of idea. Austin Reaves could be that third star for the Lakers, and he is developing into that star power type guy where he is becoming, globally known and all that stuff. But I don't think he's a top 10, top 15 player, nothing like that, right? I think he's very good. I think he will be an all-star level player, right? Like every year there are guys that are all-star level and end up being snubbed or whatever. Like, could Austin Reaves make an all-star team if there's an injury or something like that, or a guy ends up, missing or whatever? I absolutely could see that happening. The only reason I don't think he would be an all-star this year, unless he is 27-5-5, but I don't think that'll happen with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But if he is, let's say, 25-5, right? 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, then I absolutely think that there's an argument, and he very likely could be in a bid for the All-Star. But the Western Conference is so stacked with guards, it would be very difficult for him to actually get in, right? But that doesn't mean he can't be to that level. That doesn't mean that he can't be that third guy for the Lakers. The Lakers may have already found their third star. The Lakers may have already established and built their big three, right? Like, Austin Reaves is so efficient, so effective. And again, he's killing it with Team USA on a team that is all, for the most part, outside of 3 or 4 guys, Josh Hart, Walker Kessler, guys like that. Pretty much everybody else is a franchise guy. Now, whether they end up continuing to be that or not, things like that, right? Will Mikal Bridges continue to be that guy? Can he develop into the best player on that team and continue that level, right? And be the number one guy, clear cut, and don't need anybody else? I mean, time will tell, right? He was looking like that for Brooklyn. But there are some players on that are okay, even Brandon Ingram's really been struggling. No, but he is one of the big faces, him and Zion, one of the big faces with the Pelicans, right? Paolo Banchero with the Magic, Jalen Brunson with the Knicks. All of those guys, Tyrese Halliburton even, are all franchise pieces, or franchise cornerstones, or the second main person on their rosters. And Austin Reaves is number 1 in rating on that team, has been just absolutely efficient, absolutely effective, has been a top 5 player on that team, so much so that Steve Kerr is having him close games and just helping dominate. He is literally leading this team. He's over here, having games where he's the number 1 scorer and assist maker. He's averaging 6 assists a game. The guy is doing everything. And the only reason I personally, look, some people already think he's a star. The only reason I want to wait on that is just like all other stars, there needs to be that continued track record, right? Before Team USA, there was a real question of can Austin Reaves continue that stretch, because we have seen lots of players have ridiculous stretches, ridiculous playoff runs, ridiculous seasons, and just hit that wall and are never able to replicate that. I mean, think a guy like Chandler Parsons basically fleeced the Grizzlies stuff, got that huge contract, and he was out of the league before his contract was over. Right now, some of that was injuries and stuff like that, but still, things happen. Guys fizzle out, right? And there was that question of can he keep doing that, or was this just an emergence, right? What will it look like when defenses have him on the whiteboard circled? When he is on the scouting report and teams are putting their best defensive guy on him, what does that look like? And then he went to Team USA and he did the exact same thing he did for the Lakers. And he's going up against guys like Anthony Edwards, who's one of the best defensive guards in the league, and Tyrese Halliburton. And he's over here cooking all these guys. Right? I mean, we've seen the scrimmage videos. We've seen how he looks. The guy is absolutely cooking. When he goes back to the Lakers this season, he will be on that scouting report. He will be circled on that whiteboard. He will be a guy that teams are absolutely targeting. To me, that makes him the Lakers' third star, right? You got to worry about Anthony Davis. You got to worry about LeBron James. You got to worry about Austin Reaves now, right? Just like if we had Kyrie, it's you got to worry about LeBron James, got to worry about Anthony Davis, and you got to worry about Kyrie Irving. Teams are absolutely going to go after Reaves and put their best defensive guy on him or the best defensive guard on him and try to make things as difficult as possible. How does he respond and how does he look when teams are literally targeting him? To play devil's advocate a little bit here, because again, we got to be fair all around, is he is on Team USA and he is killing and thriving, but he's the 6th, 7th guy, right? Yes, he's even closing games, but how much are these teams talent-wise comparable? They're not, right? To a team like, if you play Boston and they're putting Jaylen Brown on him, right? It's not comparable. And then also, how many teams are actually trying to stop Austin Reaves in this FIBA, as opposed to, Mikal Bridges, a Jalen Brunson, an Anthony Edwards, guys like that, right? So it will still be very interesting to see how do teams defend Austin Reaves and how does Austin Reaves able to make his impact and dominate the game of basketball. Now, do I believe he'll be fine and he'll do it? Absolutely. Because we've seen nothing otherwise to signal anything for it. But, again, to answer all questions and just things that I see people throw out and talk about and stuff, he is better than a good player, or a role player or anything like that. He was the most efficient shooter in the league last year. This guy does everything. This guy he's a very good. And I do absolutely believe that this is the year that he will step into that star level, right? Again, there's tiers. You can be a star without being a top 10, 15 guy, right? There's plenty of guys like that, right? But is he a superstar? No, again, at least my standard is one of the top guys in the league and globally known. Is Austin Reaves globally known? It's looking like it, right? So he has the star power, but basketball-wise, I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar by that standard. I think he is going to be a star, and I think that he's going to be an all-star at some point, or at least one of those all-star level guys, right? And it might be this year, where he's all-star level guys, where there's a real argument for him to be an all-star. But I agree. Again, reports came out, Austin Reaves is the third star for the Lakers. The Lakers found their third star. And I actually concur. I genuinely do. I think he is far and away their third guy. I think on many nights, he's going to be the number 2 guy. I think Anthony Davis will be established. I think he'll be the clear-cut number 1. And then I think LeBron on some games will coast and kind of let Austin Reaves be the number 2 guy, and LeBron will just kind of trickle in with his, 20 or whatever. And then I think, you're going to have nights where LeBron doesn't play, and you're going to have nights where Anthony Davis doesn't play. And I think Austin Reaves will be the number 2 guy every single one of those nights, maybe even the number 1 guy. Right? So I absolutely think Austin Reaves is going to have that year. I do believe the Lakers have a legit big 3, and I wouldn't be surprised if they are the best big 3 or the best 3-man unit in the entire league this year. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think Lakers found their 3rd star? Do you think they haven't? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.